Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about OP's father, who showed up to OP's birthday unannounced and brought his affair partner with him. Guess what OP did? Listen to the story to find out, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Last year, my mom and I found out that Dad had been having an affair for more than 4 years. In those 4 years, he missed birthday parties for his kids. He wasn't there when I was in the hospital because of my heart condition, or when my little brother had appendicitis. Apparently, he did show up to his affair partner's kids' birthday parties. He even skipped my 16th birthday for one of her kids' 5th birthday parties. The truth came out after we found them together. My younger siblings were at school. Mom and I were having a mom-son day, and when we got home, the two of them were together. In the whole explosion of arguing, it came out that Dad had been there for her kids more than us since the affair started, and that he was with her when he wasn't with us. He'd even faked 2 business trips and actually spent the whole time with them. During one of those was when I was at the hospital, and he still chose to stay, using the excuse that the business trip was essential for him keeping his job. I ended my relationship with my dad there and then. But then he showed up at my birthday party last week with his affair partner and her kids. He was not invited, but apparently had asked my youngest sister about it. I told them to leave. They argued their presence there, saying we were a family. I said they were not my family, and I did not want them there. His affair partner tried to defend my father, and that's when I told him that he should have been with his kids instead of out ducking her and playing dad to her kids when we were sick, or when we had parties, etc. All my siblings, except for the youngest, were so mad to learn this too. My father and most of his family are pissed at me for exposing the affair the way I did. They said I acted like a child instead of an adult, and that it was private and shouldn't be aired for all to hear. Am I the a-hole? OP's father was outrageously audacious to show up at OP's birthday party with his affair partner and her kids, and then try and force his way in. He was just asking for OP's response. I have to wonder how he thought this would in any way work out for him. The dirty laundry could have stayed unaired if they hadn't childishly insisted in front of everybody that OP had to accept them. But since they did, OP had every right to tell them exactly why OP didn't want them there. It's not OP's fault they're so ashamed of what they did that they don't want everyone else to know about it. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Hippo Giggle says, not the a-hole. It's within your right at your party to say something, especially if he is showing up without invite, unannounced. I can't tell definitively, but it seems like you are in your teens. Regardless, your time to be thoughtful in telling him how this hurts you. He's being extremely immature by showing up with his partner and kids. I've been there, and it's a pretty trashy, awkward move. He will probably respond, "What's the big deal?" Which is why I recommend you gather thoughts and explain to him, like he's 5, why this is inappropriate and hurts you. If he doesn't get it, say goodbye. Lothal says, not the a-hole. Him being there and trying to flip this around is the lowest, childish crap you can imagine, not you going off on him. You said you don't want them there. They quite openly provoked you by trying to argue how they have the right to be there. No, you don't have the right to force yourself on somebody that doesn't want to spend time with you. Fairly ducking easy concept. It's called consent, and no way was this childish from your side. F him and his entire bootlicking family. No normal person would condone this behavior from him, family or not. Definitely not Brit says. Not the a-hole. He had the absolute gall to bring the woman he cheated with to your party, and for her to defend him. You had every right to say what you said, instead of being pissed at how you handled it, which all things considered you handled it pretty well. His family should be pissed at their lying, adulterous a-hole of a son for bailing out on his own family and only finally showing up to an event with the homewrecker. A little bit of backstory. My family is a mess. A few years ago, my father gave me some money towards a down payment on a home. At the time, repayment was discussed as, if you ever find yourself doing better financially, pay me back. If not, don't worry. I did commit to paying him back eventually, and I do plan to. I'm just weeks away from having a baby, and now is not the right time to transfer a lump sum of this amount to him. It's important to mention that he has always struggled with alcohol use, and recently retired, which has led to a huge uptick in his drinking, and has also led to a lot of bad decisions, such as paying to run a bar out of his own pocket instead of working to make a profit. My father has been married to his wife for about 15 years. She has spent most of this time living halfway around the world and requesting large sums of money to support herself and her 2 adult children. None of these 3 have jobs. My father and her meet up a few times a year to go on holiday together. My dad also lives common law with a woman and is supporting her and her adult son. Neither of them work. His wife is blissfully unaware of this, it seems. My father has recently come to me demanding the money he gave me in a lump sum. As his girlfriend, not his wife, and her son are asking for more than he can afford to give them. I've explained to him that I'm literally weeks away from having a baby, so giving him a lump sum won't happen. I also have concerns about where this money is going. I offered to make a payment each month to a savings account that he can use towards medical care or any sort of care he will need as he ages. I've also offered to make a payment directly to him each month, as opposed to giving him a lump sum that he will just waste. He is still demanding the money in a lump sum. Fast forward to today. His wife is calling me repeatedly demanding the money in a lump sum and being very nasty. The story my father told her is vastly different than what's actually going on. I'm considering just telling her why suddenly he's demanding this money, to give to his mistress and her son, to get her off my back. Would I be the a-hole if I did this? I'd be lying if this decision wasn't partly fueled by my disdain for my dad's bad decisions. I think OP can pay him back on a schedule. It's his money. It was always a loan. If OP's dad wants to throw it in the street, it is what it is. Blackmailing or telling only because OP is angry is low. How many relations he had is really between him and all the other people. He has a wife he sees a few times a year and a girlfriend. Clearly, his type is gold digger. If he had a devoted wife who sacrificed for him and loved him, it would be one thing. They haven't built a life together. By all means, OP should tell her dad's wife that she's doing a payment plan with her dad, as OP needs cash in reserve for paternal leave. OP should get repayment plan in writing and never take any dough from her dad again. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Dirty Little Secret 22 says, I want to say everyone sucks here. Him for having this affair situation and painting you in a bad light to his wife, but also you for trying to dictate the terms on which you'll give his money back. The installments portion sounds fine since your father lent the money to you supposedly without any urgency to get it back. And your intentions with the fund when he gets older are good. But it really isn't your place to restrict the ways he can use the cash that you're returning to him, as opposed to gifting to him. White Roses 7252012 says, I don't have a judgment really. I'd pay him back as soon as humanly possible and never ask him for money again. If you borrow money from someone like your dad, the money is never the only debt. Even if you did tell his wife, I doubt she'd believe you. She might think you're just trying to weasel out of it. Simply say very firmly that you'll pay him back as soon as you can. Anything else she says is noise. And let your dad know that if he doesn't get off your back, you'll be forced to tell her the real story. Too Broke to Order Pizza says, everyone sucks here. Your father is obviously in the wrong for his actions, but you are as well. You are doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. The wife deserves to know, but telling her shouldn't be a means of you getting to decide when you'll pay back your father. Tell her because she needs to know, and not because you want to exploit an already horrible situation. Me, 16 female. My dad, old. My mom died of cancer 2 years ago. It's been super painful for me. 2 weeks after her funeral, my dad snuck away and got married. The way I found out was, I came home from my grandparents and all of my mom's things were gone, including a photo album my mom made for me with our photos that was put up in my room. My dad sat me down and told me that my mom is gone and that we needed to make some sacrifices to move on. Fast forward another week. I came home to my clothes moved out of my room and into the loft area. When I asked why, Stepmom told me that we needed to make some sacrifices and her daughter needed the bedroom. The same night I overheard my dad talking to my grandparents. He told them that I had been acting out and I needed some space from the extended family. He asked them not to talk to me. I will admit I was very angry. I decided that I was going to move my dad's and stepmom's clothes into the loft and take over their room. I had prepared to tell them that we all need to make sacrifices and I needed the room. However, when going through my dad's things, I found an envelope with a DNA test. Stepsis is my half-sis. Heartbroken is an understatement. I feel completely used and lied to. Would I be the a-hole if I posted the DNA along with stepmom and dad's very personal emails, showing everyone who they truly are? I don't want to live here anymore. I want zero to do with my dad. I'm wanting to go live with my maternal grandparents. I would say OP is not in the wrong for revealing the truth to the rest of the family. But if by posting, OP means publishing it on social media for the whole world to see, I'd say OP should not do it. This is close family business. OP should tell her grandparents, tell her father she knows, tell her sister. If necessary, take pictures as evidence in case they say OP is making it up. But I think OP should not post them on social media. And now let's hear the community's opinion. SWK Asian says, not the a-hole. First and foremost, who gets married 2 weeks after their spouse dies of cancer? OP's dad cheated regardless if Sis's DNA was proof. Second, dad is a horrible parent. OP lost their mother, and they are treating the event as if it's the most insignificant event to ever occur. OP, I'm sorry for your loss. I'd honestly get in contact with your maternal grandparents and let them know separately, first. That way, they aren't finding out the same time as everyone else. Columbo Spougeot says, make sure your mom's parents will take you in, then burn it all down. Your dad doesn't deserve discretion, not the a-hole. Maddie Waddy 92 says, you would not be the a-hole, but make sure you have things sorted on your end as far as legal parameters go. Are the maternal grandparents ready to take you in, etc.? Don't go nuclear and end up on the streets. Self-preserve. It very clearly looks like your stepmother has only space for her own daughter in her heart, and life has already started making you out to be the troubled child that needs to be sent away to a boarding school or something like that. And your dad is either in on it or is buying whatever the stepmother is selling to him. So I just see this continuing. It started with the room and will probably continue on to financial contributions, higher education, etc. Update. My Grammy and Grandpa has full custody of me, and I'm enjoying living with them. My dad couldn't afford to buy me out of my half of the house. My trust bought him out instead, putting the house in the trust's name. My grandpa and the attorney decided to do this to rent out and build the trust up. The other half is because it was my mom's dream home. Although stepmom caused some issue, my grandpa was concerned that once my heart heals some, I will want the home. My dad is separated from my stepmom. He is currently living with his parents. My dad told my stepmom that she needed to come clean with him on everything she has done, especially to me. He doesn't want any more secrets. If she does tell him, he will think about reconciliation versus divorce. She did. She wants to move in back together as a big happy family. This includes me. My dad told her for him to move back in with her, then I will have to agree to move back in and move forward as a family. Since then, my stepmom has been showing up randomly at both school and at my grandparents' house. I haven't spoken to her. I, for the most part, ignore her. She told me I needed to do this for the sake of the family. Everyone makes mistakes, on and on. I feel like my dad is only saying this to help cover their living expenses, since I get survivor benefits and the house is fully in my name now. I don't want to go back. If he wants to play happy family, he can, but my happy family is with my grandparents. Any advice? Would you give them a second chance? Wanted you to outgrow 91 says, your dad is literally a disgrace, and your stepmom is no better. Please, for the love of God, don't let them manipulate you again. They aren't doing this because they love you. They just don't want to face the consequences of their actions. You should get to the very last penny that they owe you for selling your mom's stuff, and I mean it. Please don't give up. And please don't reconcile with them. And if your stepmom tries to confront you again, please report her to the authorities. They have already taken enough from you, and now they have to pay for that. Knox Wild 23 says, your stepmother and father want to live in your house rent-free and get access to your survivor benefit. I'm sorry to be so cynical, but I think their stories about wanting to be a family and wanting you in their lives is just a bunch of baloney. If your trust didn't own that house and you didn't have the monthly income, they would not be trying so hard to get you to agree to live with them. You should follow your grandfather's advice and rent out your house and save and reinvest the rent money. Stay with your grandparents. If your father and his new wife get a place on their own and invite you to visit them, you could consider it, but don't move back with them. I, 25 female, like to stay in shape. I go to the gym at least 4 times a week. My sister-in-law, 34, has been overweight her entire life and wants to make a change, and asked if she can be my gym buddy because she needs motivation. I said sure, and she signed up at the same gym. Yesterday was our first gym date. I picked her up after work and we went. 20 minutes in, she is done and wants to leave. I told her I still wanted to get my workout in and would be another 40-ish minutes, so she could wait in the lobby. They have a little waiting area with tables and chairs, or in the car if she wanted to. I thought she did, but when I was done, I saw a text on my phone that my brother picked her up. I texted her this morning to let me know when she wanted to go with me again. She never replied, but I got an angry text from my brother. He is telling me it's hard for her to go to the gym, and what I did completely discouraged her. He said I humiliated her by telling her to wait in the lobby and should have left with her. He claims she needs time to adjust, and after what I did, she may never go back. He said I should be patient with her since she's just starting out. Now I feel terrible, like I should have left, and sister-in-law is very upset with me. Stroopwaffled says, not the a-hole, and here's why. 1. You took her to be supportive. 2. She decided 20 minutes was enough for her, but still behaved entitled enough to expect that her finishing was more important than you having a significant amount left to do. 3. What would have been humiliating or discouraging is if you had made fun of her, or shouted at her, or forced her to do more, or shamed her for doing only 20 minutes. Instead, you were understanding, let her live her life, and just asked her to wait till you were done to go back home together. 4. If she wants someone to take her to the gym and leave when she leaves, she should pick someone who works out at her level, or hire a trainer. Sounds like she just needed to use that excuse to avoid going to the gym. Bulky District 2757 says, not the a-hole. She's an adult. She could have sat there and played on her phone for 20 minutes and waited. She opted to whine. Not your problem. Odd Task 8211 says, not the a-hole. The fact that she was done did not mean you were. If she wants to go to the gym with you, it is a jerk move to declare that when she is done, you have to stop to take her home. In addition to motivation, she needs some lessons in manners.